Okay, next up is Coach Harris at Auburn, and we'll start with questions. Raise your hand, and we'll get a mic to you. In the very back.
Coach Harris is Ike Jones with the War Report Auburn. Going into your second season with the Tigers, what things do you think that you can do to help raise the floor of the team? You had some pretty high highs last year. What things do you think you can do to raise that floor?
So I feel like we addressed that in the summer, in the postseason, and in the summer and the preseason. We had to get bigger, faster, stronger. I feel like we addressed it in recruiting. I had to get some depth. Yeah, mostly bigger, faster, stronger. We're teaching our kids to finish. We're trying to get smarter on the floor with having some players that played for us last year. We have a little bit of leadership there, so all of that will play a part in helping us.
In the very back, standing.
Hi, Coach. Carrie
Hi.
Osep, WBTM here in Birmingham. So your two ladies that you brought with you today were talking about there's an underdog mentality with this team, and you can kind of see it in the spirit of getting some of those big wins last season. How, as a coach, do you hope that that translates into a full season where you guys can make sure you're not having to call yourselves underdogs anymore?
Yeah, just having them consistent in practice. You know, our practices, trying to make our practices harder. They're more competitive now that we have more bodies, now that we have better talent. It's more competitive, and so just that consistency, you know, starting in practice, I think it'll carry over in the games.
In the very back.
Hey, Coach, Will Miller with the Crimson White, and I wanted to have you talk about the atmosphere that Auburn can bring, particularly in the basketball setting. How do you expect that to have an impact on your program's results this season?
I think it'll be very good for us. We just we've just sold more season tickets than in the history of Auburn women's basketball, and I think that's big for us. Our players have been out. You know, we have the jungle, which is our student sections, and our students have been very supportive. So I really believe that the atmosphere will help us, especially having a young team, because we're still a very young team. I have 8 players that didn't suit up for us last year. But I just think that atmosphere will help get us over the top.
Right here up front.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Hi.
AP Stedham of HEP. Coach, you had some huge wins last year over superior teams in the rankings, at least. How does that translate to get your team to play better game after game after game, and how do you teach that?
You know, we go back. It's what we do. We play hard. We pressure the ball. We try to get people to do things that they're uncomfortable doing, and that's what we were able to do in those games. So we go back and watch those films, and like I said, we try to be consistent. Trying to be consistent. We have more bodies. So, you know, last year we were leaning on basically 2 players, and so we have more now. And so I think they weren't built for it. Like I said, we had to get bigger, faster, stronger. They had to as well. And so I think with all of that put together, it'll help us going forward.
In the very back.
Hi, Coach. Ashley
Hi.
Woods with the Crimson White. You also have a host of newcomers coming into the team. How have you kind of leaned on the returning players to kind of bring them in and bring them into the culture that you're trying to build here at Auburn?
You know, just showing them what we need. I have 3 former players who are, you know, they're really competitive. Three former players that's on my staff, and they're really competitive. And sometimes they get out there with them, and they just show them what it really looked like. And I think by the time our freshmen came in, our returners knew what we expected day in and day out. And so they want to win. Those kids want to win. They got a taste of what it looked like. I remember the first win we got in Auburn Arena. Honesty told a reporter, "This is what I want for our fans. I want to see our fans this happy." And so just going to work, doing it for themselves, but also doing it for the fans of Auburn.
Right here in the front.
Gabriella Lewis, the next. Can you talk a little bit about recruiting internationally and what that adds to your team?
Yeah, it's big because I was not, you know, I had to sign a lot of players, but I had to sign players that fit. I do have some connections internationally. I've always had at least one on my team. This year we'll have 3. I have 2 right now, and I'll have 1 coming in December. But yes, they're physical, they're aggressive, they fit our style of play, and I just think it'll help raise our level of play in the SEC.
Right here.
Hey, Coach. Wilson Jackson from Sports Illustrated. Talk about the impact of having a player like Honesty. I know you just mentioned that she told a reporter a certain quote in a previous game, but talk about the impact of having a player like her.
You know, Honesty she's a very unselfish player. She averaged 13 points. I can't remember how many rebounds, but she's always in there. She was guarding the best player. She'll pass up a good shot for a great shot, and a lot of players like Honesty wouldn't do that. I think she's she's exactly the kind of player that you want when you're building a program, because you can put her at different spots. She doesn't complain about having to play point or having to play 2 or having to guard the other team's best player. So she's very impactful, and she's very important to this program.
Up front.
Just to follow up on my last one, Akinbola Ayindamala, she is the one. I just want to confirm, is she definitely coming in December?
Yes,
Okay.
she is coming in. She had some issues with getting to the embassy, but she got all that straight. She has her visa, and she's all signed up, and she'll be here December, I believe, the 14th.
Back corner.
Coach, can you talk about what it's been like to have Coach Fred join your staff this season?
It's been amazing. I mean, just his knowledge, his wisdom, his energy. He can coach on. He's offensive or defensive. He is my defensive coordinator, but just having that knowledge, having somebody to lean on, to run things by, he's been great. He has a really good rapport with our kids. They trust him. They respect him. And so, and our staff as well. So he's a big part of what we will be doing going forward.
In the very back, standing.
Hi, Coach, again. So more of a broad question here, but just with your history and experience of recruiting and now getting that chance as a head coach, we're seeing just the landscape of sports change with NIL. And I want to know, how do you see an emphasis on this being such a benefit for women's sports, and especially for growing that brand of women's sports?
Well, it is important, and you do see it's impactful in women's sports, and it's here. We embrace it. We encourage our players to, make themselves marketable, and we help them with that so that they can have those opportunities. But, like I said, it's here. It's part of our world now, and so, for us, it's just embracing it and making sure our players are prepared.
Any more questions? Follow up in the back.
And just to add some more to that question, just how do you feel that creates maybe some equity? That I know that it's still a battle with women's and men's sports and the attention, but do you have a hope that this one day would help, with women and young women getting a chance to kind of market themselves, as you're talking about a little bit more?
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I think our players can be who they are. They can be feminine on off the court. They can be, monsters on the court. Whatever, however they want to be, they can be themselves and still feel like they can benefit off of their name, image, and likeness. So I really believe that it's important. It's important for women basketball. I think, yes, growing the game of women basketball, and not having to being able to, I guess I'm trying to say, being able to benefit off of just who they are is important for them. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, Coach. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.